The Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Cruiser Max Vibrance, High Stick NT, and the Manitoba Pulse Growers.
I'm Lindsay Smith with RealAgriculture.com. I'm joined today by Peter Sikkema. He's a professor of field crop weed management. We're here in Ridgetown at SWAC 15. Great presentation today where you took a whole bunch of farmer questions and answered them, showing lots of data, lots of great images of proper timing, different conundrums, those sorts of things. One I found particularly interesting is sort of the critical weed-free period, if we want to call it that, with soybeans. So if a farmer goes out at the V2 stage of soybeans and he's noticing some weeds coming up, does it pay to spray?
Yeah, and so the way that we tried to address that question is we kept soybeans weed-free for different lengths of time. And in the research that we did, we kept the soybeans weed-free up to the VC stage, or the cotyledon stage, V1, the first trifoliate, V2, V3, V4, and V5, which is the fifth trifoliate. And if your soybeans are perfectly clean up to the V2 stage, and then weeds come in after the V2 stage, our data would suggest that there is no yield loss with weeds coming up after the V2 stage.
Now, might there be considerations, though, of when you may still want to go in and control those weeds after, if they're coming up from the V2 stage and forward?
Yeah, and so there are reasons why growers might choose to control weeds that came up after the V2 stage, especially if you're growing identity preserved soybeans and you do have weeds that cause staining to the soybeans, such as eastern black nightshade or pokeweed. So even though those weeds will not impact yield at all, you may choose to control them simply because you may be docked at the point of sale because of staining of the beans. In addition to that, some late emerging weeds may affect harvest efficiency. You don't want all of that green weed matter going through the combine, slowing you down, possibly plugging the combine. And thirdly, those late emerging weeds may mature and return seed to the soil and contribute to your weed problems in the future.
Now, can the same be said for corn? Is there sort of a point where there's a diminishing rate of return on weed management?
Yeah, and so we did a series of experiments a number of years ago, and they were conducted in both Ontario as well as in Michigan. And in those experiments, we kept the corn perfectly weed-free up to the 2-leaf stage, 4-leaf stage, 6-leaf stage, 8-leaf stage, and 10-leaf stage. And in the research that we did, if corn is maintained perfectly weed-free up to the 6-leaf stage, any weeds that emerge after the 6-leaf stage will not reduce corn yields in the trials that we conducted. And in terms of corn, there's less impact on harvest efficiency just because of the way the combine's set up. So those late emerging weeds do not impact harvest efficiency in corn like they do in soybeans. However, there will be specific weed species that still may mature and produce seed and return seed to the soil that will contribute to your problems in future years. However, those weeds that emerge after the 6-leaf stage will not negatively impact corn yield.
All right, thank you so much.